My presentation is about briefing the President of the United States of America on possibly opening a new department that deals with cyber diplomacy and countering terrorism and extremist recruitment. The background behind this idea. The internet has become a feeding ground used by international insurgents, jihadists, and terrorist organizations as a tool for radicalization and recruitment. Extremists use it as a method of propaganda distribution, communication, and brainwashing worldwide. Although there are no known reported incidents of cyber attacks on U.S. infrastructure, this could potentially become a tactic in the future. There have been recorded incidents of civilian radicalization through the use of internet sites that have led to terror attacks both in the U.S., domestically, and globally for our European counterparts. Our current situation. Let's start with the Boston bombings. The terrorists in the Boston bombings were able to access online Al-Qaeda manuscripts with instructions on how to build homemade bombs. This enabled them to detonate 2 bombs, killing and injuring hundreds of people in the Boston area. The older suspect in the bombings was radicalized by a YouTube channel on radical Islam beliefs. He was then able to radicalize his own brother. Next, the San Bernardino shootings. The shooters used online communication to access jihad journals and communicate with other extremists via exchanging private messages. The Call to Arms. This is a series of videos depicting ISIL beheadings and other violent behaviors in order to spread violence, fear, and energizing lone supporters to join the terror group. Then we have another example in Europe of radical Muslims being radicalized through the internet. In the Nice attacks, one of the suspects was not a devout Muslim and was never religious. Weeks before the attacks, the suspect consulted many websites with Islamic extremist religion, chants, and cited ISIL propaganda. This was able to radicalize him and change him from a normal thinking human being to a radical extremist that committed acts of terror. Lastly, we have the example of the Brussels bombings. The bombings were all radicalized in different ways, but the linking factor between all the suspects was it was internet-based. For example, one of the suspects became radicalized by watching videos of Anwar al-Akawi, the American Yemen imam who was a senior recruiter and motivator in terrorist activities. As you can see, there is a high incentive to link radicalization with these internet databases. How the Trump administration should handle this issue. They should form a newly department that solely concentrates on cybersecurity. These operations would take down propaganda websites, get rid of databases that show Islamic extremists, everything that radicalizes these people. The department would have its own separate authority away from the NSA and other agencies so they can concentrate solely on internet terrorism. Because many departments focus on a lot of things, it doesn't make them as efficient as just concentrating on one thing. This would also improve poor information sharing between agencies that hinder implementation of national cybersecurity strategies. As for our allies in Europe, this cybersecurity branch would engage in a new form of cyber diplomacy. This newly formed branch would share intel on possible internet terrorist sites and teach other European agencies how to shut them down and track those who have used these websites, eliminate the possible threat that could occur. On the issue of American people supporting this incentive. Mr. President, you ran on the platform of keeping America safe and vowing to destroy ISIL. Here's a great opportunity to show the American people that you care about neutralizing terrorist threats that pose a danger to the United States, both foreign and domestically. It will also show our European counterparts that you are serious about working with them, which would give this administration immense credibility on taking the lead in foreign affairs. You also promised to create jobs. With the creation of a new cybersecurity branch, there will be new positions that would need to be filled. Any criticism that would be directed towards the administration would be accusations of evading personal privacy and wasting federal funds. Here are two arguments that devalue these critiques. After 9/11, President Bush and his administration created the Department of Homeland Security to protect the United States borders. With the creation of this new security branch, many plotted terrorist attacks have been foiled. If it weren't for the department, the United States would have more dangers regarding domestic security. The second critique is the Patriot Act of 2001, the Patriot Sunsets Act of 2011, and the 2015 USA Freedom Act clearly let federal agencies to monitor and use surveillance on suspected lone wolves while being mindful of privacy infringements. These acts have been approved by Congress, making it legal to monitor possible suspects. So you wouldn't infringe on any other people who are not under suspicion. And this is why you should create this department.